Hey, what is up guys? It has been a while. TotalWarKS here. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys the 10 things I wish I knew before playing Fall of the Samurai DLC for Total War Shogun 2, which is pretty much an entirely different game, so I highly recommend you give it a shot. With that said, let's jump right in. Number 1, building optimization. There are a lot to talk about here, so I will split this into different categories. Firstly, with our starting region, I highly recommend building at least one traditional dojo. This way we'll have access in what I personally think are the strongest units in the early game, the Yariki and Yarikachi. They will simply rip anything apart, as line infantry and saber cavalry does not stand a chance against them. However, they will lose their effectiveness as time passes, so do not be afraid to replace them later on. For income-focused provinces, I recommend building the inn first and then industrial cottage. For the upgrade path, go for market and craft workshop, as these provides modernization without losing too much happiness. This way we can still increase clan development to unlock the next level tech tree without causing a revolt from low happiness whilst having more income. Also, do not forget to upgrade our farm, as well as unlock the trading port from the civil policy tech tree for more income. For military-focused provinces, I recommend building the cadet school, cannon range, and later on adding a training camp for added bonuses. This is so that we can have a well-balanced army combining musket infantry, riflemen, cavalry, and artillery together against all situations. Remember to upgrade the city itself for higher tax bonuses and new additional construction slots. Upgrade the fortress to increase repression to deal with unhappiness and an easier time against invaders. Finally, when occupying a province of a different faction, do build the police station to ease the unhappiness and convert the populace to our allegiance. Number 2, Naval Warfare. Within the campaign map, I recommend having at least 2 mid-sized ships covering the trade port area to prevent any hostile naval force from coming straight in for a blockade, which will often result in us losing a huge amount of income from trades. In the naval battles, explosive shells that can be researched within the military tech tree is extremely useful, as we can easily set the enemy ship on fire, causing irreparable damage that leads to surrender early on in the battle, where it is unlikely for the default ammunition to have much effect. With this method, we may often find ourselves able to win some naval battles where we're both outnumbered and outgunned. However, keep in mind that the range is shorter than the default ammunition, so prepare to take a few hits before we are in range to fire. Number 3, line formation. A simple way to increase the effectiveness of musket or rifle units is to drag them out as much as possible to form a long line. This is because any units in the second or third or any rows behind the first are unable to fire. Only the first row can fire unless we have the new fire technology researched, which still is not that good as it only allows the first 2 rows to fire and it is fairly slow. With this line formation method, we often have an advantage over the AI opponents and win battles that we initially may struggle with. Number 4, siege defense. An effective way to make the most out of our musket and rifle units is to spread them out along the castle wall, which is not as obvious to do as the previous tip. To do this, hold right click and drag to spread the unit out along the castle wall, as any man in the second row will not be able to fire. Spreading them out will resolve that and maximize the effectiveness of these units. Now, one unit of equal quality can easily stand up against multiple of the same units by using this tip, which can sometimes earn us some easy victories. Number 5, unit control. The way to have a bit more control over our units in the midst of battles is to group certain units together depending on their purpose. For example, I tend to like having 4 cavalry or more in my armies, so I would group 2 cavalry together for the purpose of holding or pushing left flank, the other 2 cavalry for the right flank. We can do this by selecting units and pressing Ctrl+G. Then the same for our main front line with a bunch of infantry units and some units in the rear like artillery or elite units, or a second front line of infantry units. If we double tap the number of the particular group, our camera will automatically move over above them, so we do not have to zoom across the map manually looking to see what is happening, especially when the units are too far apart from one another. This will make things a lot easier to handle amid the chaos in a large-scale battle where we have multiple armies to control. Number 6. Group attack. A nice way to finish off our enemies is to do a phalanx charge. However, instead of manually clicking on each individual unit to attack, we can simply press G to group up all the units we have selected and then right-click towards the enemy center unit. Then the units within the group will automatically path and charge towards any hostile closest to them once they are within range.
Your general is under attack.
Number 7. Army composition. First off, I will start with the traditional army, going a full melee style. Yarikachi and Yariki as the main units can actually work extremely well, especially in the early stages of the campaign because musket units do not have bayonets, making them an easy target for cavalry to charge them down, and Yarikachi can easily tank a few volleys from line infantry and run out routes. Once engaged in melee, it is obvious who would win, so something like 6 or more Yariki and a couple of Boki, then to finish off with Yarikachi and Katanakachi as our main frontline. Artillery is also an option, but that does not quite fit the theme of traditional armies, so it is really up to the player to decide. But later on, this army might struggle against the more elite musket units that the AIs will throw against us. To deal with that, Shogita, the best melee infantry in the game, might just do the trick. For a more modernized army, I would have at least 4 saber cavalry. This is to counter and win the flanks that the enemy AIs will often contest. Line infantry as the main frontline with a few sharpshooters to beam down the enemy line infantry and artillery in the backline. These army setups should usually do the trick. Obviously, as we move into the later stages of the game, we should try to recruit better quality troops to deal with stronger threats. Number 8. Rail Network. An interesting new feature in Fall of the Samurai is the rail network system. This allows us to transport troops from one side of Japan to the other in a shorter amount of time. The provinces that have this building are mostly located on the main island of Japan along the southern side. They start off with a telegraph station, which can be upgraded to the railway station once we have researched foreign affairs within the civil policy tech tree. Keep in mind that this still uses up the movement speed of an army, so if we run out, we will end up stopping at the nearest station. We will want to make sure that we own all the provinces that has the railway station to make the most out of it, otherwise we would end up not being able to travel as far as we could have. Number 9. Agent usage. The agent that can be recruited from the police station, it has a different name depending on which faction we are in. This is by far the most useful agent in my opinion. It can assassinate any hostiles, cause a revolt in enemy provinces, and increase repression and happiness, as well as convert the populace to our allegiance when embedded in a city. So all around, quite a useful agent to have. The geisha that can be recruited from the inn building that I also use in a similar way as the secret police. It increases a town's growth, which over time will increase a town's overall income. Not only that, as we level up the geisha, we can select skills that provide happiness, further helping any unstable region to deal with potential rebellions. The foreign veteran, recruited from the trading port building, it reduces recruitment slightly if embedded in a province and trains any units outside of battle, giving them a small amount of XP over time. As foreign veteran levels up, we are given options that can increase our unit's effectiveness, like higher melee attack, high accuracy rate for musket units or artillery units, etc. We can also challenge our enemies for a single arms combat to wound or kill them. Number 10. Overseeing. In the later stages of the game, we will encounter problems with the campaign map, as we will have too many provinces, armies, agents, naval fleets to keep a track of. So by going over to the top right corner of the screen under the map, there are multiple tabs that we can make use of. This will essentially show everything we need to know with regards of the campaign map. This will let us know if an army is being left alone in the middle of nowhere, or an agent that we may have completely forgotten about. So that's it for the 10 things I wish I knew before playing Fall of the Samurai. Let me know which Total War title you would want me to make a similar video on, and if there are any other or better tips than shown on the video, do feel free to let everybody know in the comment section down below. So if you found the video helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more future Total War content. As always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.